Madam Deputy Speaker, and I'm really enjoying this debate. I'm feeling regretful that I no longer have disclosable interests in the creative industries, and I'm grateful to members for sharing their powerful testimonies there. I do have a couple of disclosable interests in relation to tech, and it's to some of these aspects that I wanted to address my comments. Over the course of human history, we found ourselves in possession of resources that can radically change how our society operates and the quality of life that we lead. Over thousands of years, we've revolutionised society by harnessing fire and oil, electricity, even cassette tapes. I truly believe that a great opportunity for our generation today is to harness the power of data for the public good. Before I came to this place, I worked with large organisations across the world, talking to them about how they should restructure and reform their organisations to make the best use of the power of data, not only to improve their business, but also to improve the experience of their users and customers. When they used data to its best, they brought prosperity to their organisations and made people want to come back to them time and time again. How many of our constituents would honestly say that they want to engage with government departments and public services time and time again? We have to face a hard truth. When citizens engage with government, they are far from impressed. In so many cases, they feel they're battling with sclerotic bureaucracy, a system built from silos that feels designed for the convenience of the administration and not for the user. They find themselves... Yes, of course.
My personal biggest gripe is that every single place you go to in the country where you need to park your car, because the local authority has decided what app you're going to use, you have to download a new app to park your car. Smart data might actually allow us to be able to have an interoperable, interchangeable system for parking your car.
For his intervention, and I couldn't agree more. Some of the conclusions that are reached through procurement of technology services by local councils defy sense and are utterly baffling. I'm sure all of us are guilty of that. I won't go any further than that.
No, you're guilty.
No, I'm sure all of us are guilty, I'm sure, of being part of decisions that sometimes defy sense when it comes to usability. I can speak only on behalf of our citizens that contact me, talking about having to go around in circles, sharing their same stories, digging out new and old reference numbers and wondering why nothing seems to want to work for them. I'm sure the Minister would agree it doesn't have to be this way. We've already seen the transformative impact of improved usability of .gov services. And that's just the very front end of the machine. Total transformation of how data is used in our public services could radically change how we deliver services for citizens. And I hope the government can look to Estonia for inspiration on how to have a truly data-driven government with the citizen at the centre. It's a place I visited in my past life to talk about data-driven success stories. I'm sure it's no coincidence that, for instance, the last 20 years, the Estonian digital transformation has been led by Liberal governments from our Estonian sister parties. After the fall of communism, in the late 1990s, Estonia embarked on an ambitious programme known as the Tiger Leap to expand, first of all, internet and computer access, the first step in embedding the digital environment into all levels of the citizen and government experience. Their government proudly say that their e-cabinet, which streamlined the decision-making process, brought the average length of an Estonian cabinet meeting from 5 hours to 30 minutes, something I'm sure would be a very appealing prospect to anyone on the Treasury bench. Estonian citizens can access 100% of their public services online at any time. They've transformed their healthcare system with the e-health and e-prescription initiatives, which free up GP time by allowing prescription refills to be dealt with online and ensuring that in emergencies there's fast and simple access to key medical information. Their X-Road... Of course I will.
Would the honourable member agree with me that whilst all digital services are obviously desirable, we should never freeze out those who are not digital savvy, seeing as, for example, over 1 million people in this country don't own a mobile phone?
He makes an excellent point, for which I'm very grateful, and I will address in a moment, if I may. Their X-Road, described as the backbone of e-Estonia, is a secure data exchange platform that allows smooth and seamless use of data between organisations. It carries out 2.2 billion transactions every year and is estimated to be saving Estonians 1,345 years' worth of work per annum. The platform's been described as having a radical anti-silo agenda, and my experience of the structures of Parliament and government so far have made me convinced that we would all benefit from a heavy dose of radical anti-siloism, Madam Deputy Speaker. This data transformation saves the government money and the public like it. Savings worth up to 2% of Estonian GDP have been made thanks to this efficient data environment. A saving which, if replicated in the UK, would easily fill even the Chancellor's budgetary black hole. For 12 of the 15 e-services surveyed, 80% or more citizens said they'd made using these public services easier. I'm calling on government to be bold and ambitious, but above all, to be citizen-focused in the design and delivery of Britain's... Yes, of course.
I visited Estonia last year and I spoke to our ambassador. We're now on our third collaboration agreement in the UK Estonia on government e-services and digital collaboration. It was frankly underutilised in the last government. I think it would be great to see the Minister and his colleagues step up that work with Estonia and bring forward that level of work here as we have those agreements in place.
I thank him for his intervention. It's absolutely not a pitch to be part of the Bill Committee, but I would certainly be grateful for the opportunity to input my views into the design and delivery of Britain's very own Tiger Leap into the data-driven revolution. Estonia is a crystal clear example, proving that the results of this transformation are not just the preserve of tech geeks, a category into which I place myself, Madam Deputy Speaker, but provide tangible benefits for individuals, not just by making them use digital stuff at the front end, my honourable colleague will be glad to know. I also think about the lady in her 90s who had an OpenReach engineer understandably refuse her a fibre upgrade because the fact she used a telecare device didn't get shared with them by the local council. I also think of the farmers who are baffled by the systems used to issue flood recovery payments because the data isn't transparent. Even
on that point, will he give way?
Of course.
I'd like to thank him for giving way. Does he agree that the key to extracting value from data sets is data retrievability?
I thank my honourable friend for that intervention. Absolutely. There are so many layers upon which data governance, data infrastructure and data practices have got to be established. But absolutely, data retrievability is one of those things that sits between those layers and the application or interface that's using them. Absolutely.
On that point, and in respect to the points Adu was making about Estonia, one of the reasons I understand Estonia has this very sophisticated tech and AI capability and also a great many protections around the way it manages that data is because it faces a threat from Russia and it is very keen to ensure that its digital integrity is retained. I'm glad that we don't have that threat in quite the same way in this country, but there are absolutely lessons that we can learn from Estonia in respect of that, and I'm really glad he's brought that into this debate.
For his contribution. I don't doubt that was an enabling factor, but I would also point out that one of the reasons that being citizen-focused works so well is that if you give people a reason why doing something in a different way is going to be better for them, it's very much easier to build trust, build credibility bit by bit, and we don't end up with this horrendous situation of facing yet another £100 billion abortive IT project which can't quite establish public trust and therefore the whole thing collapses again. So for that reason as well, I would again draw attention to the successes from some of our European neighbours. But just back to these examples where it's not just about the interface, it's about the underlying enabling tech. Exasperated constituent who contacted me to tell me how the DWP had refused to email him. He'd asked them to send him details of their conversation by email rather than by letter to try and save the government money, and was told that they had to post it to him by letter because that was how the system worked. Harnessing the power of data must not, however, come at a cost of our rights or civil liberties. And I'm very concerned about some aspects of the bill that have been touched on by other honourable members, such as the reduced accountability mechanisms for law enforcement when handling data, a potential watering down of our GDPR rights, and giving this scope for automated decision-making without human oversight. And I've been partially reassured by some of the comments of the Minister, for which I am grateful. I'm also concerned that with the provisions for creating a digital ID system, there is no equal right to non-digital ID alongside in this bill. Not only does this create concerns around data freedom, But in areas like North Norfolk, where digital exclusion is higher than many others, I'm worried about how many of my older residents who will not feel comfortable or confident using any digital system. Their rights must be preserved and their experiences and fears given equal worth. The bill brought forward today is seeking to tackle a difficult but very important subject. It's right that the government venture into data transformation to deliver for all of our constituents and make their experiences as citizens interacting in government far better than it is currently. I guess my reservation or concern is about who it's written and working for and why. Trying to make sure this bill is not built around sort of convenience for the administration, but around genuinely citizen-centred design principles. It tackles issues like data handling, but I'd like to see it start by looking at setting out a vision for a data-driven society. I'm a bit disappointed that, as it stands, it could be more ambitious and innovative on this regard, and seek to carve us out as data pioneers amongst our international peers. I hope the government can see the evidence of successful data-driven societies. I'm confident they are. I hope they will hear the frustrations of citizens with their experiences. I think they currently do. And I hope they'll make this bill one which could be lauded by future generations as the launchpad that transformed our society. Thank you.